Martin, when you look at it, the Gunners 14 points ahead now of Tottenham with a game in hand. How has this North London gulf in class been allowed to materialise, do you think?
Well, it's just been stunning the way that the players have taken everything on board from Arteta. The information, initially at the start of the season, Jesus and Zinchenko came in and sort of raised the bar, gave them an extra level of belief. The performances came with that, result after result, and then belief, Jim. That's what it's about now.
Yeah.
They used to play with hope, now it's belief. And they really take the game to their opponents. They want to win it as soon as they can, set their stall out. And that is fantastic. I mean, that was really, I look back to the teams that we had under Wenger, and that was the message. Let's win it as soon as we can. And then get the job done and move towards the next game. And that's what they need to do now, get themselves through this heavy fixture list that's going to arrive. They've got the Europa League to follow, of course, that kicks in as well. 2 big games coming up now, Manchester United first and then Man City in the FA Cup. If you were to lose both of them, Jim, you'd be saying to me that Arsenal have blown it, it's all gone wrong and all the rest. So, what you need to do is keep your feet on the ground and just take on your next opponent.
So, Simon, when you look at it, 15 months into the Conte era, where are Tottenham now, would you say?
I think they're better with Conte there than they would be if he wasn't. Obviously, the Nuno Espirito Santos experiment wasn't a particularly good one. So I think Conte is the answer. I don't know how quickly and how much support he's going to be given to be able to facilitate the changes that he needs to make. Arsenal are a better unit. You should always stay with your gut, and this is easy for me to say now. My gut feel towards Arteta was that he was the right. I thought he was going to be a good manager, and I wobbled in the middle of it. I thought actually he's all theory and no action and no substance behind it. And then I think the biggest decision that supported him was the decision around Aubameyang, and having the courage to set out and believe that he had the support from those behind him to allow that situation to deal the way it does. Look, Tottenham are still in a situation where they've got to get a mentality into that football club where they believe that they can win. There's a compliancy to Tottenham. I don't understand it. Arsenal are a good side, but Tottenham's performance in the first half enabled Arsenal to be better than they were. In the second half, Tottenham were a little bit better. Yeah. And so the game changed its direction. Now, it's very easy. Martin will tell you as an ex-pro, when you're getting beaten and the game's already out of sight to some extent, start turning up. You need to turn up from the first whistle when it really matters and be proactive in that response. I think Tottenham will still be in and around the top 4. And I still think there's questions about whether Arsenal can win this league, because I think you'll see Manchester City get back into the groove. But what you have seen at this moment in time, and football is such a moment in time business, Arsenal are making really good progress. They've got a really good group of players. And some of the players that we've got there are players that we've had questions about. The boy up top, Nketiah, people would say, Martin included, this isn't going to be the answer. This isn't going to be the resolution to a problem. Yet here he is, a component part of a very well-oiled... And Newcastle, look at Newcastle. They haven't bought the world's best players. But look at them now. It's about confidence. It's about belief. It's about momentum. Yeah. Look at the feel about Arsenal. Arsenal are no longer this toxic football club with this background noise from ghastly outlets like Arsenal Fan TV that I dig at, because I do think they're part of the malaise that Arsenal was going through. Now you have a positive atmosphere. Yeah. And Arteta has created that, but the team's winning performances have created that.
It's not so long I sat here and you two there, like, in my ear, right, it's time to sack him. Arteta, he's got to go.
No one said that.
After 3 games, yes, you did.
No one said that.
We'll get it. We'll get the transcript.
I'd be delighted for you to do it, Martin.
So you're both saying to me, Martin, he's got to go. You're all about Arteta. He's got to go.
No one said that.
And I said, no. Look, let's give it time.
No, what we
let's
said,
give it time.
Let's get facts, because these are things sometimes evade you. What we said was, if he loses to Norwich, a team that was so poor in the September when they came back from a slight break, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I think you were ready to pull the trigger.
Not at all.
You wanted
if he loses to Norwich.
Anyway, the bottom line is that ship has sailed and they're doing well. So we'll talk more Arsenal in a moment when we hear from William Saliba, who didn't put a foot wrong yesterday and is talking about how they're coping with the pressure. But what about Tottenham? And what about Conte? Now, I was in among some of the Tottenham fans yesterday, Simon, and what they were saying, you echoed there moments ago. Why couldn't Tottenham start the game the way Arsenal started it? That was a constant topic of conversation yesterday. And then it might have been a different game. Stephen's a big Spurs fan. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning. Actually, it's not a good morning, is it? But what I've got to say, Jim, is that Antonio Conte is a toxic influence on Tottenham. He has to go today. Daniel Levy needs to beg Poch to come back. Poch regularly got us Champions League football and got us to 2 finals with no money. I wouldn't give Conte another penny to waste on our club because he's toxic. He's holding us to ransom. He's got to go. A great manager like Sir Alex would have dropped Lloris. It's a shame Graeme Souness isn't on today, who's called out Lloris for a while now. Lloris has made 4 massive errors this season, 2 against Arsenal, 1 against Villa and another one. He should never play for Spurs again. Conte's got to go. He is so toxic. His football is fossil football.
James is another Tottenham fan. James, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Gentlemen, Simon, I normally agree with you on most things, but if you think that Antonio Conte is the answer, then maybe you don't know football as much as I thought you did, because this man is paid a lot of money to coach these players. Anybody could see that 2 people in midfield against Arsenal's midfield was being overrun from the first minute. Anybody could see that Sessegnon, after 2 minutes, was going to be destroyed by Saka. And Sessegnon can't defend, and he certainly can't attack. And if you look at just those things alone, to not make any changes, having seen those things that are so obvious, you have to think, what is going through this man's mind? And quite frankly, I would have taken Lloris off at half-time. But I think that Conte clearly is not the coach people think he is. Unless you spend hundreds of millions on wing-backs and play through the wing-backs as your means of attack to your front 3, you do not play. You don't have a chance.
I've got to say, James, you're making points that many Tottenham fans around us were making yesterday.
Yeah.
Why can Conte not see it when we can see it?
Well, look, if you believe that Conte isn't the answer, then it's interesting to see what the question is, because I don't think Pochettino is the answer. I think Pochettino had an elite Tottenham side at that time with some very good players in it that were able to win a league at a time when other teams weren't competing. I don't have a particular dog in the fight. I couldn't care less whether Tottenham win, lose or draw, quite frankly, but I do think Conte is a person that's got a track record of winning. This notion that you have to spend hundreds of millions with Conte is not actually true, because if you go and look at what was spent at Chelsea and go and look at what was spent at Inter Milan and look at the net effect of what he brought in against what he sold, it's very economical. I don't dispute that there are decisions on the pitch that people think, watching from the terraces, that they can see better than the manager. There might be more information behind the scenes we're not privy to, but this guy is a proven winner. If he doesn't have the credentials that he once had or the capability, then okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I think he does, and we'll see if he doesn't.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.